is Ryan from RyanCast.com. Today I'm going to be teaching you about stretching. Alright, stretching. Some people get up in the morning, they think they've stretched if they just stretch. Like, okay, I've stretched. No. Sorry, but that's not stretching. You need to be doing a dynamic stretching routine in the morning, static stretching routine at night. What does that mean? Static stretching is like yoga, laying down on the ground, holding the stretch. There are two types of static stretching, static passive and static active. Static passive is using some external force, such as your own body weight, to hold the stretch, like doing front splits. That's static passive. Static active, using only your own muscles to hold the stretch out, and it's not moving, it's static. Dynamic active, or just dynamic because it's the only type of dynamic flexibility that you can actually train. It's like leg lifts and kicks. That's dynamic active, or dynamic, that's what I'm going to call it. There are other types of stretching. There's actually dynamic, passive, up to the pain threshold, dynamic, passive, under the pain, and all this bullshit. Forget about that. There's ballistic stretching, it's bullshit too. Ballistic bullshit, that's a good way to remember it. Because ballistic stretching is bouncing, and you don't want to bounce when you stretch. That's bullshit, forget it. The only thing it might do is injure you. Don't bounce when you stretch. The only types of stretching you need to worry about: dynamic, active, I'll just call it dynamic. Static, passive, that's number 2. Static, active, 3, and isometric stretching. Also, there's this thing called relaxed stretching, which those last two, isometrics and relaxed, you can think of those as static, passive in a way, because that's generally what it's going to be. Alright, let's dive into it. Dynamic stretching routine. What do you do? If you're aiming to develop your dynamic flexibility, you need to be doing sets for each muscle group, and each set should be at least 8 to 10 reps. So, how do you start? Okay. Dynamic flexibility. What I like to do is start at the top and go down. So first, do some head circle things and go around. And they say don't go too far back, but I do it anyway. Who gives a shit? You can do your shoulders like this and back. And like I said, for each one of these I'm showing you, you should be doing 8 to 10 reps at least. To maintain flexibility, you can just do one set of like 12 reps for each one. The bigger the muscle group, it might need more reps. And generally, if you start, when you first start doing the stretch, it'll be at a lower mobility, probably. You won't be able to go through the full range of motion. Then at around 10, you'll hit the full range of motion. It should be pretty slow and controlled throughout. On your last couple reps, you can make it faster, and the last degrees of the movement could be a little bit less controlled. But otherwise, it should be slow and controlled for the most part. If you're aiming to develop, like I said, get off my camera, fly. Fuck. Alright. Develop dynamic flexibility. You need to be doing sets, so 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 10 reps. For each one of these I'm showing you. Truck twists. Arm circles. Front and back. Chest. Go straight back. Keep it controlled. You can do your wrists and leg lifts, like I may have already shown you. Front. can hold up your hand and hit it as a guide as to how high you want to be going. Just don't overdo it if you don't actually have the flexibility. Your rear leg lifts. These are great for doing aerials and cartwheels if you're a gymnast. Also for your back and abs, you have stretches, and you can do trunk twists on the ground sitting if you want to. There's lots of different variations of these. Just experiment and find out what works for you. Okay. Back stretch. Ab stretch. And people might look at you funny when you're doing this one. Kicks are also dynamic stretches. You can do outside crescent kicks, like that. Inside crescent kicks, like that. You can do them for sets, just like you do other dynamic stretches, just like you would your leg lifts. Stuff. Static passive. That's like yoga type stuff. You should not be doing before a workout. If all your workout is to develop static passive flexibility, then yeah, okay. You're doing static passive stretches, that's fine. Otherwise, no, don't be doing that. This static passive is generally also considered relaxed stretching. You can do it to help relieve muscle soreness at night. That's what I do. There are a lot of different ones. You can do this. This is static passive. Hold it for at least 30 seconds. And you can do those ones I showed you with the ab stretch, where it looks like you're screwing the ground. And just hold it. That's a static passive stretch for your abs. You want to contract your abs when you do that. This is a static passive stretch for your chest. You can also, for your chest, grab onto a wall and hold the stretch around behind you. I also like to put this hand right here and feel a stretch in your shoulder, your other shoulder. Hold it for 30 seconds. Shoulder stretch, static passive. Okay. This is a beautiful, fantastic static stretch. Reach up towards the sky and hold that shit for 30 seconds. Hopefully you aren't being assaulted by bugs like I am. You can take your hands and twist them around like that. And do it the other way. Isn't that awesome? Okay, so recap. Dynamic stretches, we talked about that. Static, active. I don't do much of that, but it's pretty obvious. You can think of dynamic stretches and just consider them in a static way. A front leg lift, you're holding it. This is a static active stretch. Isometric stretching. This is the fastest way to get the splits. If you want to be able to do front splits, side splits, you need to be doing isometric stretching. I'm going to read to you. Okay. Pick only one isometric stretch per muscle group and repeat it 2 to 5 times using as many tensions per repetition as it takes to reach the limit of mobility that you now have. That's what isometric stretching is. You go, for instance, if I wanted to learn to do front splits, you go into horse riding stance. Tense the muscles in your legs like crazy. Tense, 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 tense. Hold them for like 5 seconds. Go out a little bit further. Tense, 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 tense. A little bit further. Tense, tense, tense. You keep going further and further and tensing until you reach your pain threshold where it starts to hurt. Pull back a little bit. And stand there and tense. Hold it. Just intensive for like 30 seconds or more. That's isometric stretching. Russian researcher Matveev recommends doing isometric stretches 4 times a week, 10 to 15 minutes per day, using tensions lasting 5 to 6 seconds. Now, tension should gradually increase and reach a maximum by the 3rd and 4th second. In a particular case of isometric stretching, you can hold the last tension, apply it to your maximal stretch much longer, like I just said, for up to 30 seconds, or sometimes even a few minutes. If you're just beginning isometric stretching, you should start with mild tensions lasting 2 to 3 seconds. Increase the time and intensity of tension as you progress. Any attempt to develop strength by isometric stretches only may lead to a stagnation of strength in 6 to 8 weeks. To develop exceptional strength as well as flexibility, combine isometric stretches with dynamic strength exercises, such as lifting weights using the same muscles. After a few weeks, you may hit a plateau. Regulating the tension and length of muscles will stop bringing any improvements in your stretches. Do not worry. Do your strength exercises concentrating on the strength gains you will achieve. I'm not going to read out of this book too much because that would be bad probably, and they'd be mad at me or something. I don't want anybody mad at me. Okay, so it is a good book though. Check out my website for more about that. Also, that book, Stretching Scientific, it's got pages and pages and pages of sample stretches for dynamic stretching, static stretching, isometric stretching, everything. And just remember, you shouldn't be doing but one stretch per muscle group per stretching routine. Thank you, and yeah, check out my site. Thanks for watching. I hope you get something out of this. Here's some more dynamic stretches I forgot about. Arm swings like this. Yeah, that's some good shit.